Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Jerred Moon. The Garage Gym Athlete Podcast is a result of my desire to build better humans, unequivocal coaches, and autonomous athletes. I've spent the last several years obsessing over program design, nutrition, and every other way you can optimize human performance. This podcast distills the latest scientific research with what I've learned and blends it with the not-so-scientific field of mental toughness. We are here to build you into a dangerously effective athlete. If you enjoy this podcast, you can find out more about our training at garagegymathlete.com. And if you want to pursue more into the field of coaching and programming, head to endof3fitness.com. Thanks for listening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jerred Moon here with Joe Courtney and Chris Bennett. Gentlemen, how's it going?
Hello.
Excellent. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you both here. And Chris, you've been around for a while, man, and getting you on the podcast now, which is I'm excited about. So if you could give us a quick intro, what you do for a living, how you train, where you're from, all those things.
Yeah. So my name is Chris Bennett. I'm from Suffield, Connecticut. It's north of Hartford. I've been with Garage Gym for about a year and a half. I got a wife, great wife, and 5 excellent kids. I train in the basement. My garage is full of kid toys, so the equipment won't fit out there. So I'm stuffed in the basement. Let's see, from a equipment setup, I've got the Concept 2 rower, Concept 2 bike erg. I've got the ski erg, a treadmill, a rack, rings, assortment of weight plates, kettlebells, dumbbells, and that's about it. And a box. And then that pretty much completes my gym. And I pretty much do every workout that you guys throw at me.
Yeah, it sounds like you got a full onslaught there. What kind of treadmill do you have?
Oh, what is that? Drawing a blank now. It's a Nordic track. That's what it is.
Okay.
Just
Awesome.
regular Nordic track. It works well.
Yeah, you like it?
Yeah. It was actually a coat hanger for about 10 years until we decided to use it.
It's a natural progression of things.
Yeah.
Well, at least it started as a coat hanger, didn't end as one. It's the backwards. Yeah, backwards though. That's
exactly. We're doing all right things.
Yeah. I hang my hat on mine if that's it still gets used though.
I put my vest on there. My weight vest gets hung on there. So
yeah, it's still serving a dual purpose there.
Excellent.
So what was the big reason behind starting a basement gym for you?
Well, much like everybody, I got to the point in my life where, had a couple kids and maybe complacency set in, and I started feeling my belt buckle on my stomach. So we made some nutrition changes. We did the Whole30, kind of cut out sugar, cut out all the stuff we probably shouldn't be eating anyways. And then I kind of hit a wall there and needed to progress to just training. I was a hockey player when I was younger, so I played hockey since I was like 4. I used to be an ice hockey referee, taking a year off this year, but I really didn't train. I played sports and I was active, but I never really got into training until about 3 years ago. Made a job change, kind of switching some things around in my life, trying to get in a better mindset. And once I really dialed into nutrition and dropped some significant weight there, and it made me feel good. And then I really give my family credit. My in-laws are really big into fitness, and they really helped me out starting the gym. And I just kind of built up extra equipment from there. I looked at Facebook Marketplace, built it fairly quickly, and I've been training for about 3 years, year and a half with Garage Gym, and I kind of got tired programming my own training. So you guys have a great program, and I don't see myself leaving. I mean, I did a little bit of the P90X way back when I got married. I mean, I think everybody gets married and tries to drop weight there, but I really only sustained that for a couple rounds of that when it got fairly boring and repetitious. So, with Garage Gym, it really, everything's different every day. Did indoor as I was really getting into some running. And then now I switched back over to Hard to Kill. So I'm really enjoying the track right there.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great journey, man. And it's cool that your in-laws are super supportive and helped you out there. How's the Whole30? I'm very familiar with Whole30. Emily, I've jokingly said this on the podcast. I feel like she does them for fun, like every once in a while. But it's Joe, you done it?
Oh yeah, a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I ever have, to be honest. I know what it is, but I don't know every detail
Inadvertently.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like but how did you enjoy the Whole30?
It was good. You know what? I don't claim to be an expert at any of this stuff. So it actually helped. It helped train my mind, kind of give me some understanding of nutrition. It is really just eating meats and vegetables and looking at labels and making sure all the preservatives aren't there and trying to eat as clean as possible. And I'm sure everybody, Jerred, you have kids and they eat all the kind of I don't know how much junk they eat, but with mine, they eat it's really, you do your best to try and put them in a right train of thought, but ultimately you see all the junk that everybody's eating these days, and it just trains your mind, and you just try set yourself up to be healthy and not to kind of eat the junk they put in food these days. So that's kind of what I gained from Whole30. And Whole30 is just maybe you do it for 30 days, but it really helps you progress and keep on eating clean and eating healthy and giving your body what it really needs. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's a good program. Of course, they say for 30 days, but it's really a mindset change.
I think that's a really good way to look at it too, because with nutrition, that's the most important part, not just following some restrictive set of rules. It's, how can my philosophy change about how I think about food? And I think if that's what you got out of it, that's huge. And I do think, having heard just some of their background and stuff, I think that's kind of what they're after too. So I think that's awesome, man. And then, so when you started into the home gym scene, you said you've been doing this for about 3 years. Is that right?
Yeah,
And so
about 3.5 years.
You started in P90X, or where did you?
I did it. I haven't really dabbled. Really haven't training for a long time with some of these other folks you might hear that you interview. But like I said, I was doing hockey. I did P90X and kind of dropped some weight when I got married. It was just one of those things where it's like, hey, we're getting married. let's drop some weight. We need to look good for everybody. And then I did that, and that was maybe 90 days or 2 rounds. P90, 90 days, 2 rounds, probably about half a year. But other than after we got married and went off to our honeymoon, I didn't do it after that. And then as life moves on, you're like, hey, I need to get active again and start doing something. And that's when I changed jobs. I'm a manufacturing engineer. My previous job I don't think I really had the right mindset, but now kind of where I'm at, I try to make a life change or a mindset change. And really fitness has helped me out with maybe some of the stuff inside my head where I go down in the basement for an hour, helps me clear my head, helps me, think about the day. I train in the afternoon. I can't train in the morning. I'm not a morning person. But the afternoon and the hour in the gym just really helps me, look at the day, reflect and get my mind right. It's really been a mind clear. It's really been helpful.
That's awesome, man. And so 5 kids, how is juggling 5 kids, fitness, job? Like how's that going?
It's insane. But it's great. It's a great life. I mean, there's always somebody around to talk to. My kids are excellent. Being in my home gym, my kids are a lot. Yeah, they go from 12 to 4 right now. And
I was going to ask the range. Yeah,
it's 12 to 4, and then I've been training in my gym since my youngest was 1. So the older ones help out the younger ones, and I could go in the gym for an hour. It's not like I'm driving somewhere else and I'm off site and my wife's there to deal with everything while I do my personal stuff. So it's really been helpful, especially with how many kids. And they're great kids. Saturdays is like just a crazy nightmare. My youngest son has hockey at 8. My youngest daughter has gymnastics at 8. So we got to kind of figure out how to get the kids to the gym, to the hockey rink. My other son does swimming, and then my other 2 daughters go in the afternoon in gymnastics. So gymnastics is nuts. There's 3 kids in gymnastics, and they do it all. Somebody's at the gym every day. It's great. I mean, they're great kids, and it's good. It's good to have them watch me work hard at training, and it helps them see what it's like to struggle and to get through some of the harder things. And it, I mean, they're kids, but they still, they've already overcome some struggles in their gymnastics and kind of, especially trying to jump to the bars and clearing their mindset. It's been good. We've been able to have some good conversation.
That's great, man. Yeah. And I'm definitely feeling that with, my youngest in soccer, my middle's in soccer, and my son's in football, and everyone wants to practice twice a week for a long time. And it's just like, all right, this is what I do now. I'm like the soccer dad or whatever, you know, just taking kids everywhere and juggling schedules. But it makes you really prioritize your time to what's important. And the fact that you're still fitting in that hour of fitness is huge. I do think your kids will see that over time. And then, you know, just for your own sanity, I think that's great that you're still getting it in, because a lot of people could just be like, you know what, that's not happening. That's maybe when they're all off to college, I'll pick fitness back up. So it's awesome what you're doing, man.
So
Thanks.
Kids can't just call an Uber?
No, not yet. Actually, Uber won't even come to my house. We found out. That's like, they won't come here.
I've been telling people they should make like a kids version of Uber, but you probably can't do that in this day and age.
No.
Yeah.
Somebody goes up with a van.
The dark windowed van.
I'd love to see this like this business idea pitched to like investors. Like, come on,
We're gonna make a phone call real quick.
That's a new Shark Tank episode.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, do you have any goals that you're chasing right now?
Well, you know, we're at the end of the year. So at the beginning of the year, I said I wanted to run 1,000 miles, and I hit that, which is good.
Awesome.
I did. The September and October was like a hell month and a half for me. I started off with a 10K in town, and then I did a 50-mile ultra race. And then 2 weeks after that, I decided I wanted to do a marathon. So I did a marathon, and then I'm a little broken right now, but we're coming out of it. So the goals now, I've kind of hit the goals. And then I was just joking with my wife, next year I want to focus on some mobility stuff. And I really just want to be able to touch my toes without my knees bent.
That's a solid one. Yeah.
So that's my new goal.
That's great. Yeah. Well, man, you've done some serious races. And this is a question we get a lot. So I'm going to ask you, because I think it might help other people. You know, how do you juggle, or what do you do when you're following our programming, but you also have some specific run goal? Or did you add additional running? Was there anything special? Like, how did you treat that?
Yeah. So ultimately Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. I know everybody tries to do the meet yourself Saturdays, but I did my off day on Thursday. That was a running day. And then Saturday and Sundays were my days. And it was just volume at that point, trying to, you guys do a great job of pitching zone 2. And I don't think I would have known about zone 2 without, the podcast and the way that you guys program that. But that's really helped out, where it's just time on your feet and you're getting the volume, and it has really helped.
That's awesome. Yeah. So fairly straightforward, just throwing it in on days that we would normally take off or do a meet yourself Saturday. Yeah. And to be honest, that's kind of how I'm doing it too. Like I'm cycling a little bit more now, and I just do that in place of meet yourself Saturday, unless I feel like doing one, or even on Thursday, like a recovery ride when it would normally be an off day. So yeah, I think that's a great way to fit it in. Yeah,
definitely.
So overall, how do you like training in your basement?
I love it. It's excellent. I don't think I don't want anybody around me when I'm training. It's just me. My kids sometimes come downstairs because our dryer and our washer are there, and it's just, if I got some weight overhead and they come down, they want to have a conversation, I'm like, hey, I got some weight over my head. Can you guys just give me a second? So it's just, I can only imagine what it's like training in a gym. But yeah, I've never really trained in a gym, so I really don't know the difference. But I really enjoy my basement.
It's way worse. The gym is an awful environment that I don't think people should be a part of unless you absolutely have to. But I'm biased. Well, let's get to some of these other questions, Chris. What's the hardest workout you've ever done?
Yeah, I was trying to think of that. To me, it was really the marathon. That thing killed me. I mean, it was funny. I was telling people about going from the 50 to the marathon. I'm like, if I could run 50 miles, I could run 26. It's not a problem. But then you get out there and a little bit on the 50, you do some walking, but on the marathon, I just said, I'm going to run this thing and I'm not stopping. And so you get like 6 miles out and you're like, okay, I got 6 to go. And and then everything starts barking at you, and all you want to do is stop and walk for a second. I'm like, nope, not walking. And you're just having that conversation with yourself. So I think to me that marathon was certainly the hardest one to just get to the finish line.
So what was the biggest difference between those two races? And also like environment, were they similar, same places, or were they different?
No. So I did the 50 in Vermont, and there was like, I think it was 7,000 feet of total elevation. And then I did the Hartford Marathon, and that was only like 700 feet of total elevation. So
yeah,
when you're doing the 50, you're just trying to save your legs. So it's trying to stay as close to zone 2 and just a conversational pace as possible. And then they have aid stations, and you're trying to fill your body with nutrition and get everything you need. But then in the marathon, it's really, all right, well, the marathon, you're at race pace. So you're trying to run like whatever your goal is. So I try to do it in 4 hours. So that was kind of a 9-minute mile. And you're just trying to keep that pace. And then it doesn't really matter what your heart rate's doing. You're just going after it for trying to hit 4 hours and whatnot. So that's really the difference.
Yeah. I mean, and that's huge. And so even with the 50-mile training, you're just doing additional Thursday, Saturday, Sunday stuff.
Yeah, it was just volume at that point. It's trying to stay on your feet for a long time and just stay moving. So whatever that means. And I where I live, I'm lucky. I have trails all over the place. So I really prefer trail running. So I'm like a mile away from one of the trailheads, so I can go up that way, or I just drive 5 minutes down the street to a series of trails. And that's kind of really what I like. I like trail running over road running. It's slightly different, more enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, in your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness?
5 kids and a family, and try and juggle everything. That's my mental toughness.
Yeah,
it's certainly been a wild ride, and from if you talk to me 12 years ago to the me now, it's totally different mindset. So it's just getting after it daily and having that that schedule, or just keeping everything that you want to do and focusing on it. And that just builds mental toughness, because there's definitely days where I get home from work and I'm sitting and stare at my shoes for a half an hour before I actually get down to the gym. So, or on a Saturday where after I've driven all the kids around, I'm like, I got to throw the running shoes on. Hey guys, I'm going out for a run. I'll be back in a couple hours. So it's just getting your mind right.
Well, getting it in, that's the most important part, man. You're crushing it.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I owe it to everybody who, provides me the training, programming, and lets me do what I do.
Yeah, you sound very, very focused, and I think that's the important part.
Focused-ish.
Yeah. I mean, if you have to be, if you want to, like with 5 kids and just everything, it's just, if you want to get anything done, then you have to be focused, So, why I'm not, you don't have to be the most disciplined human being in the world. But there's a certain level of focus there to be able to just, I'm going to stay focused on this thing. I'm going to run a 50-mile race. I'm going to do a marathon, and I think that does take a lot of focus. And the reason I keep bringing it up is because I just know that those races are no small things. And I'm saying this for everyone else listening is because he's kind of like just saying, downplaying it a little bit, I'm just doing a little running on the weekends or whatever, but you don't walk into a 50-mile race or a marathon without knowing what you're doing. So I just know, I kind of feel like I know what you're actually going through. I haven't done a 50-mile race. And so I'm just like, he's focused. Like I think you're downplaying a little bit, man, but you're juggling quite a bit and doing an awesome job in the process. And so that's why I'm highlighting it. Cause I think that, a lot of people out there can kind of get wrapped around even just like trying to fit in training for like a Spartan race, a shorter one or something like that. When in reality, to walk into these other races, you have to be pretty dialed in to some degree to be even be able to finish. So I think that's awesome.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah. So if you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I think we all know what I'm going to say is my running shoes. I can't live without my running shoes. I need those things. Just great mind clear.
Awesome. All right.
Hey, yeah.
There he is.
For some reason, I thought there was something else. I don't know. If you could add something to your basement gym, what would it be?
it'd probably be a better rack. The rack I have right now is pretty rickety and it's fairly dangerous, and it doesn't have any of the safety arms. So I probably add a new rack.
How's your head clearance?
You know what? The head clearance is just enough. So if I'm on a strict press, I could get everything overhead without. There are some obstructions. Like I have banged into a couple things hanging down the ceiling every once in a while, but I got enough. I banged my head doing pull-ups a couple times, but not too bad. I got to try to keep my head between the rafters sometimes. But
yeah, between the joists is the key.
Yeah, and avoid some of the nails that are protruding. So.
Oh yeah, I have that issue now. I got a freestanding pull-up bar, just for more pull-up bar space, because my brother trains with me now, and we're often need to do pull-ups at the same time. So I got this thing, but I didn't know how tall it was going to be, because my other pull-up bars are fine. So we're like, there's no like head hitting the rafter type situation, but it ends like it's as tall as the rafters in my in my garage. So I don't have a ceiling on my garage; it's all open. And so like the pull-up bar is like 2 inches below the top where the rafter would end. So I have to line it up in between rafters, and my head shoots through every time I do a pull-up on that thing. So yeah, it's funny. And I'm living the basement gym life in a way. You know, I know what it's like.
I'll have to I'll do a garage gym tour. I haven't done one of the videos yet, because I think my wife would yell at me because my basement's such a mess, but I'll show you the clearance that I have. But it's a good setup that works for me, but there are some sketchy areas.
Yeah, that we should do like on the spot tours and see how clean people's garage gyms and basement gyms really are. Cause I know that can be different. My biggest problem with mine, you mentioned, you have a separate space for them, but it's my kids. Is they're like, hey, you guys have this corner. Don't get your stuff out of this corner. That's where things go. But then 2 minutes later, I got bikes and scooters in between squat racks and everything else.
My basement, my basement is full of just old kids' clothes. So it's like, when I first started, I had these like little sections where I had to, okay, this is where I'm going to walk. So I moved all the bins and the boxes to one side. I gave myself a little bit of walkway. But as I got equipment, I started just like pushing everything to the side and throwing things out. And I said, the basement is slowly becoming my area, but it's still very much the kids' stuff. So
right.
It's still kind of just moving things. And it's like a desertification. As the desert kind of progresses, it's like my kids' stuff progresses into my area, and I gotta continually push it out of the way.
Slowly getting eaten.
I feel like you have so many kids. This would just be a perpetual like hand-me-downs. Like, hey, and once I can't fit on this, it just go to the next person's bedroom, and then that's how it's just gonna go.
It does, but then it goes in the basement. So then like all the stuff that's all outgrown, it goes in the basement, and then I'm like, when are we gonna get rid of this stuff in the basement? And well, we got to save it because whoever. I'm like,
whatever. That's what it is, because we do the same thing. Is like he's got gaps in between, so there might be like, this is going to be great hand-me-down stuff, but we have to wait 18 months before this kid will fit into it. So now, because we have the same thing between the two boys, is like we hold on to William's stuff, and I'm supposed to just find space for it because Graham might wear it in a year and a half or something like that. That's how it works for me as well.
Nothing
You're
gets
saying
thrown
the guy
out.
without kids doesn't know what he's talking about.
Right.
Hey,
well,
Joe,
the hand-me-down thing is right. There's just this gap that you normally have between kids, which we have to wait, so it's got to be stored. Right.
In theory,
Listen,
it does not work out.
Joe, if you ever have kids, I got plenty of clothes for you, so I'll just ship them your way.
Awesome, free.
Free is for me.
Yeah.
All right, man. What is the best advice you have for all the garage gym athletes out there listening?
Just continue to hustle and take it day by day, and don't overwork yourself, because it's certainly a marathon and not a sprint. That's one thing you guys push on everybody, and I think it's really true, because I want to be doing this until I'm well, retirement age. I mean, I look at my father-in-law, and he's a great example, and he's still getting after it after all these years. So it's just take it slow and just progress and keep getting after it.
Awesome, Chris. Well, I appreciate your time today, man, and sharing everything you have, and for being garage gym athlete, and just putting in the work, man. You're doing a great job. So thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks, fellas. Appreciate it.
Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Thanks for listening.